Hi and welcome to whatever this shit is. As you can see, I'm in the middle of the nowhere right now, and that's the main reason I decided to make this video. I know it sounds weird, but let me explain. I usually work with my desktop PC, so that means that I can only work in my room. But now I'm kind of far away from my home, and the only thing I have with me is this 10-year-old stupid PC that doesn't even have a screen. Damn it, it's broken. Anyway, I was really planning to take a break for a couple of weeks and don't upload anything to the channel, but Mixing Game Jam was coming, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, it's Game Jam time. But first, I had to solve one big problem. I've only made games with Unity in the past, and Unity doesn't work quite well on this PC. In fact, for some reason nothing works on this PC. That's why I'm not editing this video the way I usually do. That, and because I thought that this was a good way to increase my watch time without doing too much editing work. So how could I make a game without using Unity? Well, of course, I could use a lighter engine like Godot or something, but nah. I wanted to make my own game from scratch. I'm talking about pure code here. No third-party shit or anything. Next, I had to choose what language should I use. Should I stick with C# or should I use something different like Python or Java? And after 2 seconds of searching, I decided to use C++. Mainly because I used to program in C on this PC and because I found this awesome channel with a lot of resources. So go check that out if you want. It's a really good channel to learn a lot about C++. After everything was planned, I had 1 week left until the jam, so I spent that week trying to get used to C++. You know, the regular shit, doing some tutorials, remembering some stuff, and suffering in silence. I was really rusty with C, and turns out I didn't remember as much as I thought. Nonetheless, I wasn't even close to being ready for the jam, but I was gonna do this anyway. I mentioned that my PC doesn't have a screen. Here you can see my setup. I have this laptop connected to a monitor and some peripherals. For those of you who don't know what a game jam is, I think I should have explained it earlier in the video, but a game jam is a game making marathon. You have a set amount of time to make a game, and usually they have a secret theme that you should implement into your game. And finally, the jam started. I had 48 hours to make a game, and the theme was mixing two genres. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but for the small percentage of the population that doesn't get it, basically you have to mix two genres, like sports and cards, roguelike and rhythm, or Disney and anime. You know, things that shouldn't be together, but for some reason they work. My idea was to mix a puzzle game, in this case Tetris, with a shooter game. I thought about this because Tetris was the only tutorial I completely studied, and this was the simplest thing I thought I could pull off. The game should work as a normal Tetris game, but instead of moving the pieces, you should shoot at the pieces to make them fit into the field. In theory, this was simple enough. You have a set amount of pieces, and the game should choose a random piece to spawn at a random location. But you can only control a spaceship that can destroy the pieces to change their shape. Anyway, the first day ended and I didn't do anything. I was kinda busy that weekend, so I would only be able to work 5 hours on the last day. Only 5 hours remaining, so I started writing a similar code from the tutorial to start changing some things. With this, the Tetris part was partially finished. I won't explain how this works because one coder already explains it really well on his tutorial, so go check that out if you want. Now it was time to add the shooting part. But first, I did my best to draw a spaceship using ASCII characters and making it move with the player's input. I didn't have any idea how to approach the shooting, but after searching for a bit, I decided to use a list to instantiate the bullets. That way I could draw the bullets every frame and delete them after they collide with the edge of the screen. Collision detection was easy but tricky. Every frame I just check if there's a character on that part of the screen. If there's nothing, I draw the bullet, but if there's something, I delete the bullet from the list. But this just deletes the bullet. it doesn't delete the part of the piece that I want to delete. So along with checking if the bullet hits something, I have to check if the piece hits a bullet, and if that's the case, I replace the part of the piece that collided with a bullet with a blank space. And after the piece touches the ground and it's locked in place, I restore the pre-made piece to its original state so that the next time this piece is instantiated, it won't spawn with a different shape than it should. I know that this isn't efficient at all and it's kinda buggy and pretty confusing, but it worked decently, so I moved to the next part because I was running out of time. Sadly, at this point, I was realizing that my gameplay wasn't as fun as I thought, but I didn't have time to change things, so I just stayed with this idea. I know that some of you might be thinking, hey, but you can delete all the pieces that form and never lose. And that's true. That's why if you delete a piece completely, you get 0 points. Yeah, pretty epic. It's not the best game mechanic, but it was the only thing I could think of with a few minutes left. I had a hard time trying to spawn a piece with a random rotation and a random position because they kept spawning out of borders. My mind just wasn't working fine, so I discarded that idea, and instead I just stayed with the 7 basic shapes of Tetris. I think I'll add the random rotation feature and more shapes eventually if I want, but for now, I'm okay with this. Con razón está sucia pelusa, po. Mírate, po, weón. One problem that I noticed after submitting my game is that pieces never spawn at the last spot, so you can't actually complete lines like in Tetris. I think I'll solve that eventually. 10 minutes before the deadline and my game was working fine. Now I just had to think of an original name for it. As I said, my mind wasn't working fine, so I just wrote Tetris Shooter on the page and submitted my game. I barely made it, but I managed to finish my game on time. Sadly, just to realize that I had an extra hour left to submit it. But I was really hungry, so I just left it like that. Anyway, my game was done and I was really happy about how it ended up. Making a game without a game engine, it's a really fun experience and I would really like to improve more in this area and maybe make some more complex games in the future. As I told you before, I really recommend the One Lone Coder channel. It has a lot of awesome stuff to learn C++ and basically I learned everything from his tutorial, so go check that out. If you like this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe and all the things that nice people do. And I'll see you in the next video. I hope you like this kind of thing because I like going outdoors and, well, my PC wasn't working fine, so I couldn't edit anything better. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you're wondering why am I recording this kind of stuff for a game dev video, it's because